So I had a question, or what I've been seeing with a lot of clients and so forth, of all the changes, as hard as they have been for many of us. The one thing we ask is, when we're in it, in the midst of it, it is hard to make sense of it when we're emotionally connected, as I mentioned in the earlier videos. And there was a channeled message that came through for a client that I feel like I want to share with the collective. And I think whatever way it resonates with you, the question was, this is so hard that I'm going through. What I'm going through is so difficult. It's so hard. Why is it so hard for me now, where maybe in the past I was able to handle things so much more differently? That's a good question. Because when we get into that space, we feel like we're not moving ahead, we're not growing. Or we might even feel like all this work we're doing for what? When we feel so bad, right? And it hurts so much. And the channeled message that came through, and I thought it was so profound, was this. Why does it seem harder now when we are stepping into this new version of ourselves, authentic version of ourselves? Why does it seem so much more difficult and harder now to go through the storm, so to speak, than it was in the past? And what I got was this. Because in the past versions, in the older versions of ourselves, they were in our true version. They were the versions that we created to protect ourselves, to get through whatever difficulties we were going through at the time. And we played these roles, which we play all kinds of roles, but it's just in the consciousness and awareness that you're at. But in the old version of ourselves, we played these roles that weren't real. They were fake, right? Masks, illusions, right? When we pretend to be something that we are not, it's very easy to pretend. It's very easy to pretend and create a character, right? Of something that we are not. And we don't even know we're doing it. It's kind of like an actor, right? An actor can play so many different roles, right? So many different roles by shifting his mind, mentality, getting into the role of the character and becoming that role. And it's so easy to shift into these different roles as an actor. And that's exactly what we were doing. We were playing these roles. We were creating these characters, right? It really wasn't us, right? So it's easy to do that. It's easy to shut down. It's easy to pretend we're tough. It's easy to create things in our mind that aren't really there, just to appease people, places, things, situations, society, family, expectations, whatever it was, right? We put all these limitations on ourselves. We do all of these things and we play these roles really good, right? But then each time when a storm comes in, another layer is peeled away, another layer is peeled away, right? But now we're in this place where we're so aware now of so many things more than ever before. And the role, the biggest role and the biggest challenged role for us to play now is our true role, right? We play the fake role for so long because it's very easy to play those roles and create characters out of them and identities, right? Because it's not truly who we are. We don't have to put a lot of work into it because it's kind of like we just transform like a superhero, right? We just put a mask on, put a uniform on, and we start taking on that role. It's so easy. It's harder to be our true self. It's so hard for us to be our true selves because that means we're going to have to look at the truth of things. We're going to have to look at things within ourselves that we've been suppressing for so long. We're going to have to look at our past and why we created those characters and roles before. Created them to protect ourselves, right? So that we wouldn't have to think about whatever we were going through. When we are in the role of our true self, It's the biggest challenge. And that's why it's so difficult when we go through this storm. Because now everything we have known or everything that we have created in the past to just fit in, to get through life, we no longer can do. We have to face our truths. We have to see our truths. We're not playing any more old version roles or characters, but being our true role. We're playing our true role. And that is why it's so difficult. So this is the message that came through, and it makes so much sense, right? It's harder to be who we really are because of fear of judgment, rejection, abandonment, all of these things, right? But at the end of it all, we're only rejecting ourselves, abandoning ourselves when we stay in those roles, that we created to protect ourselves, right? You're already abandoning and rejecting yourself, and that is why it gets played out in reality. When you reject and abandon and push parts of yourself away, that is what you see in your illusion, in your reality, in wherever you are, right? You see more of it. You see more of, or you experience more of the same, being rejected, being abandoned, all of those things that we all fear the most. That's why we play the roles in the first place. So, it's hardest now when we're stepping into the truth of who we are. This role is going to be the most challenging and hardest role, because it's in this role where we have to really face the truth. No more illusions or false masks. We have to really bring the darkness up within ourselves and face it, because it can no longer be hidden or kept hidden. We can't do that anymore. And that's why this role, this time around, feels so much more harder, because we're not pretending to be who we are not. We are stepping in our truth, into our truth, in our authenticity. And it's hard to face the darkness within. Make the darkness your friend. Bring it up to the surface. Give it a big hug. Pat on the back. Tell him it's okay. You no longer have to be kept in the dark. Come on up here into the light. And let's do this together. Let's balance these parts together. The dark and the light brings harmony and peace, because we're now allowing ourselves to embrace it, to accept it, to acknowledge it. And that's why, my loves, this time around, the storm is very challenging and very hard. Because this storm is revealing our truth. It's revealing and throwing away, leveling out, pushing through all of the fake illusions, false versions. It's leveling it out. It's no longer needed. Been there, done that. And that's why it's so hard. Because now, being real, being truthful, being our authentic selves is going to be the hardest role you've ever played. But it's going to be the most profound and the most important. So be patient with yourself as you go through this storm, whether you are in it, have just gone through it, or haven't gone there yet. This storm is going to be the hardest one. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. Because we don't no longer have to pretend. Because you know how much energy it takes to pretend? To be something we are not? To appease? To do what everyone else wants us to do, or what we think, the expectations? We don't need to do that anymore. And that's why everyone is finding, a lot of people who are going through this major storm right now are finding they don't want to be in these jobs that no longer align with them. It sucks their soul. It sucks the joy out of their life. They no longer need to be there. These relationships that we are in that no longer feel good just suck the life out of us. We don't want to be there anymore. Friends, family members that suck the life out of you, that took so much from you. And on some level, we allow it, right? Because we don't know any better when we're going through it. It's no longer in alignment with us, and you're going to feel it in your body, and it's going to hurt like hell. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. This time around, it's not going to be easy. If you're ready to go to the next and the new and step into your authentic self, it's going to hurt like hell. So be patient with yourself. Forgive yourself. Take the time to rest and rejuvenate through it. Sometimes we need intervals of rest in between the storm. But this time around, it's not going to be fun. Not that any storm is fun, because it really is not. But as fast as it comes in, it's going to go out, if you allow it. So take this time to embrace the butterfly that you're becoming. Embrace the beauty around you. Embrace the beauty within you, as difficult as it may be, seeing the things that we're seeing. All this change is necessary. The good change and the bad change. It's all necessary to create in the way that it's meant to be created. For ourselves and for outside the world. So yeah, we're going through it, not only internally, individually, but we're going through it within the world. We're going through it with nature. Everything is in the process of changing and moving. And this new is trying to come through. So welcome it. Open your arms to it. Be gentle.